One of the other ever-growing, there's no disease that's not growing, let's put it that way. But one of the things that is also concerning, very concerning to our team at Hippocrates, is how many more people, and at such young ages, they're getting Crohn's, colitis, diverticulitis, precursors to Crohn's or colitis, so-called irritable bowel syndrome, etc. Now, this is very clear what this comes from. 70% of your immune system reigns in the bacteria, the biome, we call it, inside of your intestinal tract, prebiotics, probiotics. And if you look back at studies that were done before I did my work, they showed you that even drinking soda once or twice wipes that out. And it's phenomenal because if you are breastfed by your mother, one of the first things that come out of her bosom when you're an infant, just born, is colostrum. And that colostrum has all the bacteria you need for the rest of your life. If you lived 100 years, it seeds within the intestinal tract everything you need to have a perfect immune system. And by the way, when you get sick, it's your immune system that let you down. And when you get better, it's your immune system that supports you. So we're monofocused at Hippocrates, always on supporting the immune system. With that said, we've got to, and there's ways we can test this today, and it's not always necessary, how bad is a bacteria? How out of balance is it? And 85% of the population have an out of balance or horribly bad bacteria count in the intestinal tract. So there's methods we use. We use completely digestible, living, active and living forms of plant-based probiotics and prebiotics. And not only take it orally, but sometimes our physicians teach you to administer that anally. We may have to clean out the intestinal tract and employ things like wheatgrass anally to start to heal, clean, create an antiseptic, flush out. When you go into a room that's in disorder, you clean it before you use it. And it's the same exact thinking when it comes to this. And we've done this thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of times and watched it work. Then we have to eat what feeds the pre and probiotic. The only thing that feeds it is cellulose from plants. Do you think taking a chunk of organic, quote, organic chicken is going to do it? Well, if I took chicken and brought it and put it on my counter in my kitchen and did not refrigerate it, what's it going to smell like in a day? 2 days, 3 days? Open your head, start to think about these things in common sense ways. Not abstract ways. Dr. Schmo who's telling you this stuff, forget it. It's going to rot, and it does the same thing in your body. Why do eggs smell like sulfur? They're rotting. It does the same thing in your body. And so you've got to feed the cellulose. You've got to eat food that heals you. And yes, supplementation. When you have these disorders, supplementation. There's great ones, by the way, that are specifically good for the gastrointestinal tract. And it is very, very odd because when you have the most heightened forms of this, doctors are trained to tell you don't eat raw food. And it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense because we see the opposite. We, for generations, have given people the raw food and watched them recover from this. Because if you constantly death, dying, and disease, it actually creates more and more of a problem. You're creating a dark, deep cave that has a cycle of bad bacteria in it. And you'll end up continuing the irritable bowel syndrome or whatever it may be, Crohn's disease. We may not eat raw food in the way that you and I would. Maybe we have to blend it temporarily. Maybe we have to eat particular types of it. Maybe we have to eat the softer forms of it. But slowly but surely familiarize, bring life, bring light back into the intestinal tract. And I, again, have watched hundreds and hundreds of people reverse these diseases. But you have to be serious about it. Or, if you listen to what mainstream tells you, you'll never get better. You'll be on drugs the rest of your life. There's a whole new group of courageous mainstream doctors that are doing fecal implants. And I'm for this, by the way. MIT, the most important science institute on the planet Earth, has a poop bank now. They're actually looking at different forms of fecal matter and trying to stabilize them so that doctors in the future will be able to use this anally as well as orally to reseed the gastrointestinal tract. And we found the best. I participated in 3 or 4 of these, where we actually collected fecal matter from healthy young children and the doctors administer that into the people. And they're getting a spectacular result, rather than saying, you're never going to get better. But again, it's a handful of courageous doctors doing this. 95% are still telling you that this is not correctable. And I see lifestyle correcting it. I see combinations of what I'm now speaking about with lifestyle correcting that. And we can't give up on people. And most of these people that have colitis and Crohn's disease are young. Young. And it will shorten their lifespan. No question about it. It will make them vulnerable for every other disease.